Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angelica Ramsey, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. And I am co-presenting this afternoon with the wonderful Dr. Yee Wan, who's the Director of Multilingual Services in our department. And I have to say it's a very difficult task we have this afternoon, which is going after Consuelo. But we love her dearly, and we're also feel empowered and inspired by her and her words. And much like everyone that spoke after her said, that, you know, it is a call to action, and it is a responsibility of ours to ensure that all of the blessings that she had and that we've enjoyed, that we continue to pass those along to those that have come after us. So we're here today to talk about a communications toolkit, in essence, that we put together at our county office because we truly believe in the value of being bicultural, multicultural, multilingual, biliterate, multiliterate. And so, as our title states, it's Educating for Global Competence, the Value of Multilingualism. I'll give you a moment. I think Nelson Mandela's kind words really speak to the value that we place in what our students already come to us with. And many times, as we've probably heard the anecdotal through the conference, all of us who came up as English language learners, Dr. Wan and I inclusive of that sometimes we felt outside of the norm going into the school setting. And having the need to code switch, or having the need to really straddle two separate worlds. And I know in my instance, my world was English outside and Spanish inside. And at school, I really, it resonated with me what she said, what Consuelo was talking about, her name. Because at school, it didn't matter how many times I said Angelica, Angelica, and Angelica. It was Angelica, or Angelica, or even Angie. And I would say, no, you know, that's not my name. My name is Angelica. And they'd say, okay, Angelica. And so going back to learning to maybe navigate those two worlds, you know, Nelson Mandela said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, it goes to his head. But really, if you talk to us in a language, his own language, it goes to our heart. And it really shows the value and our value. And at our county office, we truly believe that. From our county superintendent, Dr. De La Torre, who many of you had the opportunity to hear yesterday morning as he gave the introduction. Because it's a value to us, it's a value across our county. And it's important to us that we continue to talk about how multilingualism and being bicultural and biliterate is important to us for all of our students. Even our students that come in monolingual in English, it's important to us that everyone in this global world has the opportunity to graduate at least knowing two languages. So as we talk about our goals and what we wanted to do, I wanted to take a minute to talk about a reorganization that happened in our own office to show why this was so important to us. Last year, we decided, after a lot of conversations with our branch, that we would dedicate an entire team to multilingual education. And so as we went through those conversations, should it just be the multilingual coordinators and maybe possibly adding the English coordinators? And it was really important to us that that wasn't the case. That what we did in our curriculum and instruction department is that we created two separate teams that work together of interdisciplinary coordinators to work alongside each other. So in multilingual, we don't just have the multilingual coordinators and the maybe literacy coordinator, but we have math and science in there as well, because we're all working towards the same end. And we created a second team that's about STEAM, but in the same vein, that it's multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and that we work together. And I think that's our goal. Our goal is that we aren't the other anymore. It isn't a separateness, the English learner or this one initiative that we have, but that it's all inclusive. And so In our county office, as we work through a strategic action plan with our board, one of the main goals that came out was the creation of this toolkit. And so that really shows that at all levels of our organization, this is important. And I say that for any of you that may be policymakers or leaders in your organization, that while I don't say that it starts with you, but you're an integral part of that. So we really want to make sure that we highlight the value of being multilingual and for all of our students, as I said previously. So why the toolkit? Why would we create a toolkit that's available on biliteracy? Well, you know, our role at the county office level is to serve and to advocate. So as advocates of this toolkit is going to promote and support equal and equitable access to high quality education for all students. And as we can't say enough, it goes back to making sure that we value, and we don't have a deficit thinking model, but we truly understand the value and proficiency that our students have, and that we applaud them for speaking more than one language and being literate in more than one language. So as we think about how other countries educate their youth, we're compared a lot, right? We have the PISA, the NABE, and you know, we're in this global economy. What do you think K-12 learning looks like in China? Do you think that they have to learn another language? You're all, yes. It's compulsory. I've had the privilege of spending some time in China the last year and a half, and what was very interesting to me is that when we would go to any type of school, whether it was an elementary school, a middle, a high school, whether it was a college prep high school or a vocational setting, they were learning at a minimum English. But what really was striking to me was that in the summer of 2012, there were 50 of us from across the United States that took a tour to visit schools in Beijing, Xi'an, and Shanghai. And when we were in Beijing, the principal wanted to speak to us about how we teach foreign languages in our schools. And so as we're talking to them and explaining to them how that happened in our particular school districts, they said, but talk to us about Spanish. How soon do you teach Spanish? So we asked the principal, well, why do you ask that? And she looked at us like we were from another planet. She's like, what? Don't you understand how many people are in Latin America? Don't you understand the changing demographics of the United States of America? Why are you not learning Spanish? And we thought, wow, it took us going to Beijing to hear that the value of learning Spanish in even US schools. So yes, in China it's compulsory, and it starts about age 8 or 9. There are weekend, Saturday, or after school schools as well that start at an earlier age for some students, but it is compulsory. What about our neighbors to the north? Do you think foreign language for them is compulsory as well, or do you think, yeah, absolutely. They start at 10. Most in 2, maybe 3 languages. How about here? It's not. In the country made of immigrants, in the country based in multiculturalism, it's not compulsory. So there was a study, and the study really looked at the 24 industrialized countries, and they surveyed their heads of state and really asked, you know, tell us about what second language acquisition looks like in your countries. So how many of these do you think at least study one additional language? Talk to your neighbor, just your little elbow partner. How many? Do we have any guesses from the audience? 23. We heard all 23. Oops. How many? 21 of them. we're not one. So when we talk about citizens of the world being comfortable and feeling comfortable speaking another language other than their own, in the United States, only about 10% of our citizens feel comfortable speaking, not academic, but speaking, conversing in another language. In Europe, it's 54% that feel comfortable. So we're definitely seeing that our children are coming out of our public schools at a deficit. If there is a deficit to speak about, it definitely isn't about our English learners coming in with already a rich heritage, language, and culture, but it's about our students not learning a rich language, culture of others. Because language is much more than just letters and words. When we embrace another language, we learn about foods, we learn about rituals, we really learn about a different people in a very different way that makes us understand that we're more alike than we are different. And that's something at this point in time that our students here in the United States aren't able to receive. So from the highest levels, Arnie Duncan explaining to us that if we don't change our policies, if we don't provide the opportunities to our students, then they're going to come out in this global race far, far behind. Past are the days when we go to other countries and we expect them to speak English, and past are the days where here we have what we think is an official language. There is no official language in the United States, and that's for a reason. And we need to ensure that all of our students are learning world languages, a variety of them. If they already have a language, if they come in as a Mandarin speaker, maybe they can learn Cantonese. If they're a Spanish speaker, they need to learn Mandarin or Vietnamese or Korean. There are many languages that our students need to have access to. And in our area, it's our right, or we feel that we need to support our school districts in that plight, in ensuring that they either have dual language programs that lead to pathways that lead to seals of biliteracy. So as we talk about the benefits, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but we know that those students that are native English speakers can acquire 2 or 3 different languages while we're in public schooling. And they're able to, while they do that, they strengthen their own academic literacy in English. And for our non-native speakers, our English learners that come to us, they continue to develop their own primary language, not losing that, while they learn English and hopefully even a third. I'm going to invite Dr. Wan up.
Great. Thank you, Angelica, for providing the reasons on why the Santa Clara County Office of Education has created the Communications Toolkit, and also provided statistics about what's happening in terms of foreign language learning and the statistics about the status. So it is really evident that in the United States, we have a lot of work that we need to be done. But in terms of the political climate, we know that we have these wonderful opportunities. In the previous slide, you saw that the Secretary of Education, Arnie Duncan, really highly valued children's learning more than one language. And also President Obama also made the same speech and also has the statement in the new plan for world-class education, providing world-class education in the United States. So then what does that mean then? When we look at world-class education, and what is global competence, and how does global competence relate to bilingualism and multilingualism? So I would really like to invite you to reflect on these 2 questions. Just take a minute. So many of you are really familiar with now the movement of the Common Core state standards. It's really based on the 21st century student outcomes and the support systems. And many of you have already seen this graphic, the rainbow at the top, that represents the 4 skill areas then it's for the 21st century learning outcomes for our students to be able to be ready for career and college ready. And at the bottom part of this graphic, those ripples, that represents the support system for our students and our educators to prepare our students to reach these outcomes. I want you to pay attention to the green span. Right there, it says the core subjects. We always hear, right? We want to learn about reading, writing, math, language arts. Right here, it also says 21st century themes. I want to highlight within the 21st century themes, world languages, multiple perspectives, and cross-cultural understanding are part of the 21st century themes. So those are the basic foundational skills that we expect our students to learn from school, and we want to prepare them to have the basic skills. But in addition to the basic skills going beyond, it's connected to the red band, the red part of the rainbow, that's life and career skills. We want them to be ready for life and career. We also want students to possess the learning and innovation skills, the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. We want our students to be able to communicate with people across the world. We want them to be able to collaborate with others. We want them to be able to solve problems or propose new solutions across disciplines creatively and working with others. And we also, not only that, they need to be able to integrate technology as they problem solve and as they innovate. So when we look at the whole framework to provide that world-class education to prepare our students for the 21st century, language, it truly plays an integral part. In the era of globalization, the use of advanced technology has dramatically shifted the way how people communicate. We know with our young learners, they use Twitter, they use Facebook, mobile device on a daily basis. So to connect them also with the global economic integration, that further stresses the need for students to learn a second language and other culture in order to be successful in this global environment. So I would say global competence requires bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural knowledge and skills. That's part of the packet for global competence. So now I'm going to show a video. You will have an opportunity to hear the voices from students, parents, researchers, educators, and school board members about their definition about what they see the role of bilingualism and multilingualism in 21st century. And in this video, we feature the students in Santa Clara County in dual language immersion schools from kindergarten all the way through high school. You will get the opportunity to see students in world language classes, French and Japanese classes, and also Vietnamese for Vietnamese native speakers class. So enjoy this video.
I am the global future.
I am the global future.
Tôi là một tương lai sáng rạng.
I am the global future.
Soy el futuro de la sociedad global.
Je suis le futur mondial.
I am the global future.
我就是世界的未来。
मैं पूरी दुनिया दी भविष्य हाँ. I am the global future.
Our children are the global future.
My child is the global future.
Mis hijos son el futuro de la economía global.
我的孩子是世界的未来。
Mis hijos forman parte del futuro de nuestra sociedad global.
In the 21st century, bilingualism and multilingualism are essential to the global competence of our students. The ability of students to understand and adapt to a rapidly changing world will set the tone for their future success. Students that possess bilingual skills and mastery of multiple languages will thrive as they navigate this dynamic global economy, explore other cultures, and communicate their own ideas to the world.
Students who are bilingual and bicultural, the County Office of Education believes, have significant advantages in the new millennium. These advantages are economic, they're social, they're communicative. With emerging and accelerated changes in technology and real-time communication globally, individuals who are bilingual and biliterate can reach out and speak with people all around the world, share ideas, discuss issues and topics, and we believe at the County Office of Education that our public education system has an obligation to promote bilingualism and biliteracy.
We're educating students for jobs that don't even exist right now. We continue to see the dialogue around STEM or STEAM, right? And we need students and graduates who understand science and engineering and math. But unless you can articulate that, right, with strong communication skills, not only in your own language, but in a second or a third language, people need to communicate and talk and have critical thinking skills, along with all of that science and engineering and math here in the Silicon Valley that continues to keep us the innovation capital of the world.
Children growing up and coming of age in the 21st century are living in a world where knowledge, experience, relationships are possible all over the globe simply through technology and the touch of a button on a computer and other kinds of technologies. But those voices, that knowledge, that experience isn't always in English. It's in the hundreds of languages of the globe. When you know another language, you have access to those people, to that human experience, to that knowledge base. If you don't have that language, you're one step removed from being able to access it. So that's in terms of the global society.
Ensuring that students have the opportunity to develop critical 21st century skills, the Santa Clara County Office of Education has established a consortium that actively supports and promotes the Seal of Biliteracy and Pathway Award programs to encourage students to learn a second or third language.
Districts should establish pathway awards and biliteracy seal programs because it's very important for our children who are able and willing to learn and study foreign languages, world languages, to be able to be honored and cherished for their abilities. These children are going to be prepared as global citizens for the world.
Students choose to study a second language for a variety of reasons, and those who are bilingual or multilingual will find themselves open to a world of infinite possibilities, culturally, socially, and economically. Studying a second or third language allows students to communicate more successfully with family, friends, and peers around the world, while adding value to their education in significant ways. Bilingual or multilingual students will also find they have laid a strong foundation for success in a variety of careers.
I wanted Matthew to learn 2 different languages because I thought it was important for his future. And also for our culture, I think it's very important to just know those 2 different languages if you are 2 different cultures. And I know that it's going to help his future just like it helped mine.
Being bilingual right now could help me in my future career because I want to be a dentist when I grow up, and it's easier for me to have a bilingual job so that I could be able to communicate with my patients in both English and Spanish.
My goal is learn 5 or more languages. I like to speak, I speak English and Spanish. I like to speak Italian, French, Vietnamese, Japanese, Chinese. I wish I could speak a lot of languages. I really enjoy that.
Learning second language could help me expand my career because I know 2 languages, so I can apply to any job. And it's a benefit for me because it would look better on my application because I know 2 languages and I have a higher chance to get a job than people know only one language.
Since I know English, Mandarin, and Cantonese, and I'm studying Spanish currently, it'll be much easier for me to travel to other countries and communicate with the people there if I have a job that requires me to go overseas.
The Seal of Biliteracy and Pathway Award programs support the future success of our students through the establishment of valuable opportunities for language instruction in our schools and communities. The study of different languages and cultures enables students to think critically, exercise creativity, and communicate confidently with people across the globe. Providing children with these experiences is key to broadening their understanding and appreciation of the diverse and ever-expanding world in which they live.
Learning another language is like learning another subject. There is no limit to what your knowledge can give you.
I feel like when you stay in one place your whole life, you just kind of know that corner of the world, but when you get to learn a different language, you also learn the culture that comes along with it, and so you really, I don't know, I feel like it just opens your eyes and changes the way that you see things.
I feel more confident knowing that I can speak two languages, especially in California, such a diverse area. It really helps when knowing two languages can help you communicate with those other people.
Having the ability to speak multi-languages is just going to be a skill set that is almost going to be commonplace in the future.
Language is a really important factor. For years, we've been talking about how the world is becoming smaller, but in reality, it's also becoming much faster. And language, ability to understand language, the ability to communicate is actually one of the most important skills. And globally competent language speakers are increasingly important. As deals are happening all over the world in real time, ability not just to know one language, but to quickly be able to pick up and understand multiple languages and multiple cultures differentiates people's ability to get work done fast.
Our teachers are amazing. You know, everybody at the school believes in being bilingual and being academically successful, and so it creates this singular mission.
Okay, after watching this video, I would like you to take a look at this question and think about what's currently in place in your school district or in the system that you're currently working in right now. And then reflecting on what's currently in place, we also want to look ahead and to see what additional opportunities that we can create for our children. Because from the keynote from Dr. Alma Florada from day one, to Dr. Luis Cruz, to today Consuelo Kickbush, and also from the Deputy Superintendent from the U.S. Department of Education, Dr. Libya Gills, all those messages are really consistent in supporting and promoting biliteracy and multilingualism. So in our school system, what can we do to support? We can look at the possibility of creating programs and pathways for providing world language and foreign language study programs for the K-6 and also for grades 6 through 12. So right here on this chart, it really shows the different possibilities that we can add to our existing program, the system, if it's not currently in place in your school. We also look at the dual language immersion programs. Some of you might have attended sessions about two-way dual language immersion or one-way dual language immersion, and see how you can begin these programs in your school and also in your district. Just for your information, for more definition about what these terms mean, these programs mean, the handout that you receive is really at the back. So the definition is really included in this booklet, the Educating for Global Competence, the value of multilingualism. So how many of your school district currently has the seal of biliteracy in place? Please raise your hand if you have the seal of biliteracy in place. So we have one district from Colton, California. You have the seal of biliteracy in place. So seal of biliteracy is a recognition by the California State Superintendent of Public Instruction to recognize graduating seniors who attained proficiency in one or more languages in addition to English. So California is the first state in the nation that passed this legislation in 2011 as a result of the wonderful work by Californians together. So you heard it earlier, Dr. Lori Olson that received the Citizen of the Year Award. She has been instrumental in pushing that initiative forward. So following the California passing the legislation, New York, Texas, Illinois also passed the state seal of biliteracy legislation. And there might be right now 3 more states will be passing the legislation this year or next year. So we know that this is the movement and also validation to support students to attain biliteracy by the time that they graduate from high school. But just doing that is not enough. We need to create a structure to support students, to encourage them to continue to study language along the way. We would like to start as early as at the preschool level. So we also offer pathway awards for students who graduate from elementary level. So there are 2 types of awards. One that's called Bilingual Service and Participation Award. That is to acknowledge students who are on the path to develop biliteracy. And or the Biliteracy Attainment Award, when students can show specific proficiency attainment in another language. The same pathway award also apply to middle school. So when students graduate from middle school, then they can also receive the Pursuit of Bilingualism Award or the Biliteracy Attainment Award. So some of you are interested. So what are the criteria for students to receive these awards? So once again, in this booklet, we have the award criteria for elementary, for middle school, and also for graduating seniors. So I want to let you share that these resources, we use the information developed by Californians together and took it back to our county consortium and work with our county district to refine and adapt what would work in our county schools. And now I would like to take you to the website for our communications toolkit. And I wanted to acknowledge my colleagues in here. First, the leader in our branch, Dr. Angelica Ramsey has been instrumental in supporting this effort. She rolls up her sleeves and actively participates in helping the development of materials and the PowerPoint and reviewing all the content. And so does the team sitting right here, the STEAM director, Cecilio Dimas, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Melissa Christie, Rhonda Beasley, part of the multilingual team, and Sylvia Solis, and also Lorena Taraba. So we have a huge team. You can see our commitment in supporting this effort and interdisciplinary because we have high expectations. We wanted to support our students to develop their fullest for bicultural, biliterate, and also succeed in the 21st century. So now, showing the website. So this is our website. And opening up. I should go back to the previous page. So on this website, here, this communications toolkit, you can actually download the PDF file. So if you want to print more copies, then you can actually download the files. Or I know the internet access is very slow in this room because this is the convention center. So I want to let you know that everything, the entire booklet and all the questions, right? Why should students learn a second language? Why do we create this toolkit? The award criteria, everything. Okay, now we get connected. So everything is right here. If you click the hyperlink, it will actually take you to the page. So that makes it really easier for you to share the information with others. Something that I really want to point out that we are really proud is that we are able to come up with a list of the school districts who are currently offering world languages in their school. So that gives good information for parents and community. If some schools are trying to create a language program, they can just look at this list as their resources and contact each other and to start their program. So perhaps when you go back, you might want to start a list in your county and begin the network to try to learn from each other. So we have this publication. Then we also think that it's very, very important to be able to get the information out there. Just by having, the president say it, well, that's important, or the Secretary of Education, that's not important. We need to constantly remind others in our community the parents, the student, the teachers, the school board members, the importance of bilingualism and multilingualism. So therefore, we have developed presentations for overview sessions specifically targeted for parents, teachers, administrators, and school board members, and also community members and business leaders. Each one of these PowerPoints is really specifically tailored for that population because we want to be sure that we can get the buy-in and the support so then you'll be able to support the language programs in your school district. And if you scroll down, you see that these PowerPoint files with notes are already ready. So then you can use the PowerPoint files or adapt to use for your needs. And also we are in the process of translating this document and also the PowerPoint files into 4 other languages. So then you soon will be able to access in another languages and share with members in your community. And also, we're able to collect the voices from many stakeholders in our county. So this page is the video. The one that you just watched, the full video is approximately 8 minutes. You can click the play button, it will play the full video. Or when you do customized training or overview sessions, you want to share the message from the superintendent, board members, administrators, or business leader, community members, researchers, and also teachers, parents, and students. Guess what? All these video clips by the different stakeholders at the different levels are ready for you to access. So then you can connect with your audience. And right here, I want to acknowledge Ken Blackstone, the director of our Communication and Medias Department, for being so supportive with his team, being able to film the video and edit and put it on a website. So thank you very much, Ken, for being so supportive, and one of our team members. So, and we also have a tab that has all the additional resources, because many times people will ask, where do you get these resources? What is the research? What's the backup? How can we get sample about board resolutions, award criteria, how to do it? So this research page has all the information that you need to start putting the structure in place. So that is the key components of our communications toolkit. And before we actually conclude this session, you might want to think about how might you utilize this toolkit to reinforce initiatives or programs that support students in becoming bilingual, multilingual. And the message from this conference is so clear. We are preaching to the choir. The reason why you're here because you're passionate, you believe in bilingualism and multilingualism. But what can we do after feeling good in this conference, having the opportunity to talk to one another? What can we do to take actions to make change in the field when we return? So I really want to invite you to think about your next steps and what you can do in order to make the change. So to close this part, I wanted to say that there is an urgency for schools to offer second language instruction to produce 21st century learning outcomes. Our world is globally, multilingually, multiculturally, and digitally connected. We have the obligation to ensure that our students receive a world-class education so that they might possess effective cross-cultural communication skills and the ability to understand different perspectives, appreciating other cultures, and laying a strong foundation for world peace and a stronger global future. Thank you very much for attending this session. Thank you, Angelica. So now we are going to stay a little bit longer if you have any questions, all right? Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you in NABE 2014.